Hello, welcome to ELL Plus. I am Jweihan.
And I'm Jooyoon Kim. On this week's program,
Transport for London has today announced plans to take over control of the capital's suburban rail services.
Lewisham Council is under fire from the government for failing to meet European recycling targets.
The short film event Americana, featuring 7 movies, has taken place in Shoreditch.
A local pubs are concerned over the effect of the alcohol-free Dry January campaign.
Transport for London has announced it will take control of the South Eastern Rail franchise between Lewisham and Central London in 2018. The announcement, which was made this morning, is the first step in a process that will see all suburban rail services incorporated into the London Overground network.
Our reporter, Hugh Sambrook, spent the day looking at the impact this will have on rail services in our area.
These light blue southeastern trains might soon be turning orange. New plans announced by Transport for London and the Department of Transport say that they will take control of London's suburban rail franchises as they expire. They say they will improve services and upgrade old infrastructure. Under the plans, new overground services from London Bridge, Cannon Street and Victoria will serve South London and provide 80% of the network with trains every 15 minutes.
These new plans announced today by the Department of Transport and Transport for London will mean that all London suburban rail services will come under the Overground's ruling. This means that disjointed services now run by franchises like South Eastern, Southern and South West trains will become part of the Overground.
Ben Rogers from the think tank Centre for London believes it's a service which South London greatly needs.
Yeah, I am pleased. I mean, our starting point is, if you were to look at a map of London Underground, London Tube, not knowing much about London, you'd assume that London stopped just south of the river. Almost all the TfL stations and lines are north of the river, and yeah, a third of us live south of London, and South London is very, very poorly served by rail links.
These plans mean that it might not be long until the last southeastern trains pull out of platforms from across southeast London. Hugh Sambrook, ELL Plus.
Our transport correspondent, Tom Bateman, joins us now for further information. What do you have for us, Tom?
Yeah, as we've just been hearing, TfL has announced today that they're planning to take control of the suburban rail services in London, in our area. That means that then 2018 they're planning to take over the Southeastern franchise when that expires. Those are the services running between Lewisham, Victoria, Cannon Street and London Bridge. I think it'll be quite a positive change for passengers. The whole point of the Overground service is that it provides a turn up and go service, that's what they call it. That means that they run at least 4 trains per hour, one every 15 minutes, which is good for passengers because it means you don't have to worry about a timetable. You can just turn up and you can go. It's very straightforward. It's been welcomed by politicians of different tribes, you could say. The Conservative mayoral candidate, Zach Goldsmith, said it would be a positive change for suburban rail in London. His Green rival for the candidacy, Sian Berry, said that a overground service would be an obvious improvement on what we currently have.
Yeah, that's convenient.
It's very.
Thanks for that, Tom. England recycling rates have been published, and Lewisham is listed as one of the worst in the country. Only 17% of household waste is recycled. Susanna Lee has this report.
Glass, plastic, tins, paper. Only 73 councils in England have met or exceeded the European recycling target of 50% by 2020. Lewisham currently holds the second worst record for recycling household waste in the country.
Despite UK recycling rates increasing, London is falling behind, with only 35% of waste is being recycled.
The Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs has published the country's recycling records. The worst three consoles are Newham console, Lewisham console at 17.1%, and the Isles of Scilly.
Well, there's two things to say about the level of recycling in Lewisham currently. I mean, one is that there clearly is a need for improvement because Lewisham is sitting at the bottom of the league tables for London in terms of the amount of waste and rubbish that it does recycle. The easiest way, in GMB's view, for that level of recycling to improve is for the council to draw on the expertise of other local authorities who've achieved, in some cases in London, as high as 50% of their waste being recycled.
Over the last 2 years, England has produced more than 23 million tons of waste. Less than half of this was recycled. The pressure is on to reach the target within the next 4 years. Susanna Lee, ELL Plus, Lewisham.
Office workers have been treated to a lights exhibition in Canary Wharf. Thousands have been to see the displays, which will be taken down tomorrow. Grace Lynn has more.
Nighttime in Canary Wharf is always charming, but now it is even more beautiful because it has been lit up by the Winter Lights Festival. 18 works of art have been put on display, appealing to art lovers, families, and office workers to have a colorful night. This light installation is called Fantastic Planet. It is a representation of an 18-foot-high alley.
I quite like the idea that it was interactive. I was definitely quite inspired to touch it. I wanted to go and get involved in it.
Yes, just wanted to pose with it. I was less
more your
invasive.
vibes.
Yeah, yeah.
As well as light installations, some artworks combine technology, sounds, and images.
It's pretty good. We came here last year, liked it, so came again. It's nice to see that there's different installations, so it makes it a change. Some are static, some are interactive, as you see here. I think my favourite one so far was the On the Wings of Freedom, so you can interact with that. That's pretty cool.
You know, when you put work in a space like this where most of the people at this time of day are just going to their office and back, it's surprising. Most of my inspiration comes from a sort of personal experience of moving through built space. As you can see, the materials are very much rooted in the materials that you might find in the city and as you kind of navigate your urban surroundings. I think that the way that I try to combine technology and beauty is by letting the structure and the aesthetic of the work take centre stage. The technology needs to support it, but it needs to be less visible than the structure, the light. That's where the beauty and the aesthetic of the work is derived from.
The festival runs until Friday night. Grace Lynn, ELL Plus, Canary Wharf.
This month, the Dry January campaign, which raises thousands of pounds for charity, has attracted millions of participation. But what has the effect been on East London's bars? Our correspondent, Nina Lecote, reports.
Silence, an unusual atmosphere for a pub normally buzzing with customers. This month, many of us have decided to cut back on what we drink, some for health reasons and others for charity. But could this be the final nail in the coffin for small pubs already struggling to cope?
Our coffee sales have been really high lately. I mean, we've been doing lots and lots of that sort of, non-alcoholic sort of stuff, but nothing in particular. I mean, now sort of in the middle of the month, it's starting to pick up again, but definitely those first few weeks, it was a lot more quieter on the weekends, which is usually our biggest trading period, yeah.
Every day, 4 pubs close down in the UK. This is worrying for those working in an industry that employs 1.3 million people. In southeast London, businesses have seen some dark days for smaller pubs competing against chains, and keeping things going has proven difficult. We wonder what were customers' reasons for taking part in Dry January.
I think it's a good idea. I think is it raising money for charity as far as I'm aware, which is, a really nice idea for people who want to do that. And I guess it's always good to not drink for a month for a lot of people.
I think it can only really be a good thing, surely. I mean, new alcohol guidelines are out, says no amount of alcohol is safe. So, you know, everything in moderation, but it's probably good to give yourself a break.
I love alcohol, and there's no reason that I should stop drinking, because I can't find the reason yet.
Experts hope that by keeping people off alcohol for a month will help them change their bad habits and encourage them to drink less throughout the year.
Bars and pubs in East London have suffered from the Dry January campaign. Those last 3 weeks have been really hard on them as clients have been fleeing and numbers have dropped. However, there are some other alternatives, such as restaurants offering alcoholic-free menus and beverages.
Redemption is a non-alcoholic restaurant offering a detox menu for this first month of the year. Its philosophy is, spoil yourself without spoiling yourself. Catherine Selway founded Redemption 2 years ago.
Well, we called it redemption because in order to be redeemed you need to have sinned, and so where needs redemption more than Shoreditch? I think it's true of London altogether. We drink too much, we party too hard, and so redemption is about being the antidote and the cleansing to that. Not in a really serious way though, we're trying to poke fun at our national indulgence.
So it's not all bad news for some businesses who have taken matters into their own hands, creating alternative ways of lessening the blow. This new and quirky business model has proven very successful on the streets of Shoreditch, one of London's most trendy places. Nina Lecourt, ELL+.
We're going to take a short break. Stay with us on ELL+. Welcome back to ELL+.
Our top story today, TfL has announced it plans to take over suburban rail services.
The rapid pace of change in Hackney is affecting parts of the community, which normally goes unseen. Tom Bateman reports on the plight of sex workers in the borough.
They say it's the oldest profession in the world, but today prostitution is causing debate in Hackney. Hackney is changing. Rents are up and a new population is moving in. The new Hackney has a changed relationship with its sex workers. Outreach workers say police dispersal orders and arrests are targeting some of the most vulnerable people in the borough. Amnesty International has recently begun to campaign for the decriminalisation of sex work in the UK. A spokesman told ELL+, when sex workers are no longer seen and treated as criminals or accomplices, they are less at risk of aggressive police tactics and can demand and enjoy better relationships with and protection from police. Open Doors is an outreach service for sex workers in partnership with Homerton University Hospital NHS Trust.
The last 10 years has seen a real change in population, and it's not that people are not sympathetic, but I think they don't understand, they don't have the same kind of local connections which help them understand and empathise what it means to have our local mums and sisters and daughters of our community so vulnerable that they've ended up selling sex on the street, and as a result of that vulnerability in need of all of the support that they can get. And so as a result, what I've seen is definitely more calls from local community to criminalise and to be punitive in terms of the response.
With gentrification in Hackney showing no signs of slowing down, people like Georgina hope that attitudes towards sex workers will change with it. Tom Bateman, ELL+.
Americana is a screening event of 7 American short films. It was hosted by the Shots on Top film organization. It took place at 93 Feet East in Shoreditch. I went myself to report.
Americana is the initiative of Shots on Tap, a London-based short film platform. The event is part of the series Road Maps, aiming at discovering different countries through short films. Filippo Polesel is one of the founders.
It's not a festival in a way that we don't give any awards or prizes, but we just give exposure, and precious feedback to filmmakers It's very important for any filmmaker to test their audience, to see how the film's going down with the audience, and to get precious comments on their work. So this is what we provide mainly.
Directors and short film amateurs gathered in front of these screenings to share ideas. The event attracted people from different countries.
We love this whole idea, the festival. My mom herself works in a cinema in Germany, and we're so obsessed with short films. I think every short film is very great. We have a lot to talk about it afterwards. The funny ones, we put a lot of thought in, and we love the crowdfunding idea, and yeah, it's very nice.
I think it's a great opportunity to see new films, see new talent, experience films you wouldn't normally get to see. Yeah, I think all the films have been very different, very varied.
And I submitted my film, and they accepted 2 of them, so I felt really lucky that I could come and represent America, I guess, on Americana night.
Shorts on Tap has previously showcased in Tokyo and is heading to Berlin next month. Jooyoon Kim, ELL Plus.
Martin Luther King Day on Monday was celebrated at the Victoria and Albert Museum of Childhood in Bethnal Green. The exhibition looked at the impact of immigration on children. Majd Bushto has this report.
The event was run by Journey to Justice organization in partnership with the V&A Museum of Childhood.
As we seek to build societies free from the evils of repression.
Through talks, it focused on Martin Luther King's call for universal economic justice, and it highlighted the racial, economic, and health challenges faced by immigrants to East London.
I'm researching child migration to East London of children under the age of 18 from all over the world. And what is important is the rights of those children. The rights of those children to have safety, to be cared for, to have an education. And Martin Luther King was obviously for the rights of people from diverse backgrounds, of people. And also many of the children who've come, obviously, have come from Africa, from the Caribbean, from Vietnam, from all parts of the world. So they too can face the issues that Martin Luther King was fighting for equality of people of all different backgrounds and all different races.
Though from the United States, Martin Luther King's life and work influences those who seek justice for human rights in the UK, and his legacy lives on more than 40 years after his death. Majd Bushto, ELL Plus.
An installation by Goldsmiths graduate and leading British artist Jooyoon Kim was one of the artistic creations at Lumiere London. His display at the 4 Nights Light Festival will now become a permanent feature on Carnaby Street. Ariz Jayat reports.
The Lumiere Light Festival came to London for the first time this year. Les Luminéoles, a piece by French artists, came to swim in the skies above Piccadilly. 33 other art installations decorated London's city centre by British and international artists. Over 1 million visitors came to the heart of the capital, and the roads in London's West End and King's Cross were closed to traffic for 4 nights to allow everyone to walk freely. On nearby Carnaby Street, people gathered around Jooyoon Kim's Shader Walking, which is the name of this animated LED screen. Opie, who is an artist and Goldsmiths graduate, said that he wanted to draw people just the way they look walking down the street. He asked random people to spare him 20 minutes and be filmed on a treadmill. He then used the shots to draw a simpler version and put it up on an LED light display.
Very simple, you see the girl wearing just like a singlet and maybe a jogger's black pants. And then what came into our mind was like the Beatles crossing the zebra crossing. So we actually like took our own photo.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, our own take on it. Yeah.
I don't really understand it. I want to know a bit more about it, so maybe I'll look into it later. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. However, it's like quite repetitive, like it's the same thing.
As Shada was left walking in Carnaby Street for 4 nights, the crowd had an unexpected reaction.
It's been a week since Shada came walking in Carnaby Street, and she's still walking here. This is because this piece has now become a permanent installation and will be illuminated day and night for at least 3 years. Shaftesbury plc, the company responsible for all the buildings in Carnaby, worked with Westminster Council to keep this here as a legacy and not just part of the Lumiere Light Festival.
We were approached by Lumiere a couple of years ago about getting involved in the Light Festival, and from the outset we thought it was a very ambitious idea for the Light Festival, but we desperately wanted to be part of it. Bringing free art to the streets of London seemed like a fabulous idea, but for us we wanted a piece that would live beyond the festival. So we commissioned Jude and Opie to do this piece, Shadia Walking, as part of Lumiere, but to stay as a legacy, as we feel it really connects with the area and reflects its creative atmosphere.
Julian Opie's piece is here to stay. People are now left with this as a souvenir from the festival, along with the many pictures they took among the big crowd. Arif Zayat, ELL Plus.
Thank you for joining us.
Goodbye.